is your partner all you need? Like, should you be getting everything from your partner? We depend on each other for sex, because if I didn't depend on you for sex, then who would I depend on? That would get...
I actually do not fully think you should depend on me for sex.
But I shouldn't depend on someone else either.
Correct. We are starting to think so much alike. And so if you're in a relationship, it's really crucial to have other people who are your best friends, so that you can call on those people and those people can call you on like your bullshit. And even if they're not calling you on your bullshit, they still have another perspective.
I could be there for you, but in being there for you, I might not be able to be fully honest with you at that moment, because that's not what you need from me. And also, if it touches in on something that's really sensitive, now we're blowing up something else, right?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Interracial Couple Podcast.
Wait, it's not all black and white. My name is Sarah. I'm black.
I'm Matthew. I'm white. And today we are diving into the question of, is your partner all you need? Like, should you be getting everything from your partner?
I am your everything, Matthew.
You are my sun and my moon and my stars.
And I fulfill all your needs.
Yes, clearly. Every one of them. You are my oxygen. You are my water.
I'm your only friend.
You are my cake.
Anyway, let's get serious.
Or maybe that is serious. I think it's an important question anyways.
Yeah.
To kind of go in and say, like, how much do we put on our romantic partner, on our spouses, our boyfriends, girlfriends? And these are important questions to ask, because just the way that our life is designed now, right? I know if you go back in time, like we lived in greater community. You know?
But now we spend so much time with our partners without our community,
right?
So most of the time is spent especially during we're recording during a pandemic, is just I only get to see you. Right. I don't get to see a lot of people. Right.
It's even more so. And so therefore you're actually seeing, one of the things that's come up, I think, during the pandemic is, we've heard that to the extent that, divorce rates went up, breakup rates went up, sadly, domestic violence rates have gone up. What that kind of has shown a light on to, I think, one of them, there's many things, but one is that there's a bit of this expectation that if I get married to you, you should be my everything. And I think that expectation is
That's a lot of pressure too.
It's an impossible amount of pressure.
It's so much pressure. I hear people saying he's my best friend. I'm like, I don't want my boy. You're not my best friend,
Yeah,
that's what women friends are for. We're friends. We're intimate.
You are, I think, as far as partners goes, I don't think I could find someone who could be that I could also be a friend with as much as I can with you, as well as a partner. But the friend is also someone that you can, is another perspective. And the more time we spend together, and we even joke the way we can complete each other's sentences and that type of thing. And it's cute and it's fun, but it also means that sometimes if there are challenges, but also in other things, is having the other perspective, because you and I are becoming less and less another outside perspective to each other.
Yeah, we are starting to think so much alike. And so if you're my best friend, you'll never give me another perspective. You're going to give me the same perspective that I have. So that's why I think that if you're in a relationship, it's really crucial to have other people who are your best friends, so that you can call on those people and those people can call you on your bullshit. And even if they're not calling you on your bullshit, they still have another perspective.
They can give you that outside, and other people, there's a permission almost, right? And that somebody else who you don't go to bed with can bring certain things up. And I've seen that in other relationships and also in myself. If there's something that maybe I see, but if I bring it up because it's sensitive, right? If you're having a challenge, there's probably some part of that where there's a pain point, right?
Yeah.
Like whether it's in your business or finances, whether it's in dealing with a parent or whatever, the myriad of questions could be, you had an issue with with someone who you were going to start working with, and that kind of like blew up, right? If I was going to come and say, here's what I see that you did wrong or what you could improve. There are times where you're just like, I just need someone to be there for me, right? And one of the things is, I could be there for you, but in being there for you, I might not be able to be fully honest with you at that moment because that's not what you need from me. And also if it touches in on something that's really sensitive, now we're blowing up something else, right?
Yeah.
Someone else is like, you can be mad, and you have with your best friend. You're like, you're really frustrated with her, but you get to hang up. With me, you can't really hang me up because I'm sleeping, snoring next to you.
True. And like I think it was 2 Saturdays ago, I was feeling really down and you're like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm going to go call my best friend. Like, I'm going to go call a friend and talk to them. And I called a friend and we talked for over an hour. And she gave me an amazing perspective. She was able to say, like, Sarah, look at it from this point of view. And that's what I needed, But I also feel like some other people could have been. I also feel like if you didn't respect the fact that I don't come to you with everything, you could have also taken it personal. Mm-hmm. You could have been like, why can't you talk to me? Why do you need to talk to her? And I was just like, I knew like, this is something I just need to talk to my woman friend, girlfriend, This is not something that I bring up to you, And also when we first moved here, you were just like, I just need to go hang out with the guys, Mm-hmm. And I was like, take the weekend. Go hang out with your friends. And like, how was that for you?
Yeah. No, well, it's great. And I think that those other relationships are important. It's, and then there's something else new or fresh that I can bring back into the relationship. And I think that is also important, is that, particularly right now, you and I work together. So we are in an office together all day, and then we eat together, and then we sleep together, and we spend all this time.
Things together.
It's a lot of things together. There are a lot of opportunities for challenges within that. And so, so having something that is like, it's okay, I think is really important. So that's kind of been one aspect, but, there's the other is sort of for all of your emotional needs. And I know this is something that men can struggle with in particular. And I think that's some of our socialization, which is, I'm good, I can handle it, I'm fine, whatever, right? Until eventually I'm not good, I can't handle it, I'm not fine, right? It's not, it's like it's black and white. That happens to be, right? It's that I'm fine, I'm good, I've got this, I'm good, I've got this, oh my God, I am miserable, or, that gray area. And there's a gray area because I think there's actually a lack of a real vocabulary around understanding emotionality and feelings. And it comes with practice, right? When I was younger, I went out and played ball with the guys. And fortunately I had some female friends, and I noticed there was this difference very often too. What I do with the guys, we went out and played ball, and with my female friends, there was definitely more sort of conversation. And through that opportunity of having that, I also got to sort of develop a language. And by having a language, I was able to begin to develop, a deeper or better connection with my emotions and my emotionality. And really, I say the vocabulary around that, because being able to name it, to be able to articulate, like, this is what I'm feeling, not like, oh, I'm not quite sure I'm feeling this thing, but it could also be this other thing. That is indicative of emotions, but there's also a thing of the better I can explain it, the better I can describe it, the better words I have to use it and articulate it, the better grasp I have over it, as opposed to it or them, meaning my emotions, having control over me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a circuitous thing, but to come back is like, this emotional connection. A lot of guys, and this is just from research that I've done and men that I've worked with and men's groups I've been involved with, is that, I if I'm going through something, the guys might not understand.
So you go to
or they might laugh at me or get over your feelings or like man up or whatever. So now what do?
Go to your wife
Go to
or your girlfriend.
Right. And now you're like my therapist, you're my emotional support creature, you're my my whatever. And I think that's really like, that is not fair.
It's really not fair. And also you could be with someone who's like really should not be giving you advice on that point of view as a therapist. Like they don't have the training, they don't have the tools, they are like, I'm your girlfriend, like I'm not your therapist, and I think that is so clear. And I'm just like, if you need to talk on that emotional need, I think like A, you either go to someone who has the training, or B, you go to your friends and talk to different friends and see what other people think,
Yeah. So having that, some other people, other things there, like you can't be my everything in that. You also don't have as much perspective as you would like to think, and vice versa.
No, I don't.
Because things that you do directly impacts me. Therefore, I am fully invested to the point where I just don't have that kind of perspective because I'm down here in the trenches with you.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other things that we kind of like look to? I know financially is one thing, because we generally don't want to go out for financial support, like this is our thing. Let's figure this out. If we're having financial struggles or whatever, like we have to pick each other up because it's not my parents' responsibility anymore. I'm an adult. It's not my children's responsibility. It's certainly not my friend's responsibility. So what do we do around that?
That feels like an inner responsibility. What that means is like I have to take responsibility for like the kind of life that I want, So it's not like I wanting to live this fabulous life and depending on like you getting me that life,
right,
So if I want that fabulous life, I gotta create that, and I see so sometimes women saying like, I gotta find a rich husband so I can live this kind of life, glamorous. And I'm like, no, actually what you need to find is someone who is going to support you in ways to be able to like provide that glamorous life for yourself. And I think so for me, it's like, you're not rich, but I was like, that's not what I was looking for.
That's good. Because if you were, you would have looked right past me.
So like for you, like what does like that financial like needs?
Looking at history and what's changing now, right, is that, we had, those things were very stratified, meaning, men were responsible for bringing home the bacon and women were responsible for cooking it.
Oh, I was like, find it so funny. Remember when one of your friend's kids was like, you gotta go to work, your god kid?
Yeah.
And what did she say?
Oh, and her mom said, Matthew's got to bring home the bacon. And she turned to someone else and said, you go bring home the bacon. She didn't want me to leave. It was very cute.
I found that hilarious.
So, but I mean, I think there are two sides of that. One is the actual money part, which we're in this together. And the other is figuring out the money part, right? Because there are always, I think for the most part, there are always some challenges around money. What those challenges are different. Some people, it's not a matter of how much I have. It's a matter of I have a ton, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
For some people, the challenge is
I don't have enough.
I
need to get more.
Mm-hmm. So I think there are these two pieces, but I think if you kind of look back, there were these, things were very clear. And even living in Kenya, when we had employees, like we asked, and we had interns working for us and stuff. And one of the questions that came up a few times was, do you think men should make more than women? And it was almost a universal, yeah, they should, because they are responsible for providing for the family. And I think that's still very conscious there, right? In the U.S. here, I think that the same logic is what's going through people's mind, or faulty logic, but it's no longer conscious. It's become subconscious. So now we're kind of looking for other reasons. We get Jordan Petersons of the world being like, well, men just are willing to put in an 8-hour work week and women aren't. So therefore men should make more, or things like that. as though the number of hours that you spend is somehow now worth more than the quality of the hours you spend, or that's it's better to spend more time at the office for money than making sure that your kids grow up healthy and happy and well adjusted and well connected. These different sort of values that we put on different parts of our lives. But I think that still really much exists in our psyche, even though there be very few Americans that I know that would say that, at least certainly within my community here. But so that lives, I think, within us. So this question kind of can come up of, well, how do we depend on each other? How do we lean on each other? And where else can you lean in that area? Unless it's like with you, with your best friend would be like, hey, you know what? I'm struggling with this, and she's going to give you advice, but she's going to be there as a support person. But that's not really financial, because now that's that's something else. Financial is just strictly money. So I guess I kind of come back to you as, how is that like finances? We need to stand on our own?
I don't think we need to stand on our own. That's not what I was saying. Because even like all the other things we've talked about, it's not like you're standing on your own. But there's a difference between standing on your own and taking responsibility and feeling like this is equally my responsibility. The way we do our money is that you've made more money than I have made. And so that doesn't mean like I don't get to pay for stuff. It just means like sometimes you need to pick more slack. Right. You need to pay for more things. And but it doesn't mean like, and I know that once, if I make more money, which I hope I will, I know I will in the future, is that I will be paying for more things,
Yeah. Right.
And I do. And there's also this thing like when we're in a relationship where you feel like if anything goes wrong, like I have you.
Yeah.
So is that depending, or is just knowing that my partner is going to be my backup financially?
That I don't even know if there's necessarily a 100% answer on that. I think it's a good thing to kind of bring awareness to,